last mammoth had no idea he was the last. They were not the enemy. They were survivors. The cold had turned merciless. The herds were slowly disappearing, and winter was no longer just a season. There was an age when giants ruled this frozen world. Their numbers once filled these plains. Now, only a fragile herd remains. They move slowly through wet snow. The ice is retreating, and without knowing it, they were already walking toward the end of an ancient empire carved in ice. They did not see themselves as legends. They were the sovereigns of the Ice Age, massive bodies wrapped in thick brown fur, up to 3 meters tall at the shoulder, curved tusks shaped by evolution, arcs of ivory sweeping forward like weapons forged by time. Beneath their fur, a thick layer of fat, protecting them from winds that could freeze flesh in minutes. For thousands of years, they followed ancestral routes. They marked frozen continents with their footprints, step after step, across endless white horizons. The Ice Age was not their enemy, it was their kingdom. They did not see themselves as legends. Legends are remembered. They were feared. They were rulers, the sovereign giants of a frozen world. Yet they were not alone in that frozen kingdom. The plains trembled beneath other colossal lives. Woolly rhinoceroses carved silent paths through the snow. Bison moved like dark storms across the white expanse. Cave bears watched from the shadowed mouths of ice-rimmed caves. Somewhere, always, predators waited. This was not a gentle world. It was immense, violent, beautiful, a balance sustained by strength, and within that balance, the mammoth stood tall. Every creature on the steppe fought the same war: cold, hunger, distance. The giants did not rule through cruelty. They survived through endurance, through memory, through instinct passed down across generations. The ice began to withdraw, not in a single season, not in a single year, but slowly, century after century. Temperatures rose, glaciers fractured and retreated, sea levels crept higher, the frozen steppes began to change, grasslands thinned, forests advanced, wetlands spread, new life rooted in thawed earth. For many species, this meant survival. Some adapted, others moved. But the mammoths were creatures of cold, built for endless winters, shaped for open, frozen plains, and the world they had always known was becoming warmer, wetter, greener. Ancient migratory routes shifted. Food grew scarce where it had once been abundant, and what remained was no longer theirs alone. The balance that had endured for millennia was beginning to tilt. A young calf stepped onto the frozen river. The ice did not break. It trembled. Thin fractures spread beneath its weight. For the first time, the ground beneath them hesitated, and far beyond the riverbank, unseen but present, something else was watching. Humans. In the beginning, they did not attack. They watched. Hidden in the shelter of wind-carved valleys, they followed the herd for days. Sometimes for weeks. To the humans, a mammoth was not just an animal. It was everything. Meat, hide, bone, tusk. Nothing was wasted. A single kill could mean weeks of food. For our ancestors, that flesh was not a luxury. It was survival. The thin line between enduring the winter and disappearing into it. They roasted it over open flame. They smoked it slowly in the cold air. They preserved every piece they could, knowing that the next hunt was never guaranteed. They watched. They calculated. They chose the moment and turned the land into a weapon. They learned to set silent ambushes. They learned to turn fear into advantage. An adult mammoth was no ordinary prey. It was a force of nature, towering, unstoppable. A single charge could crush bone and silence life in seconds. But when panic spread through the herd, the land itself turned against them. Cliffs became traps. Ice gave way beneath heavy steps. Marshland swallowed their strength. And in that breathless moment of chaos, the giant's greatest power became its undoing. But not all of them were gone at once. Far from the mainland, beyond the reach of hunters, a small herd still endured, on a forgotten island, surrounded by the frozen sea. Wrangel Island. Here, time moved differently. The ice age had ended, glaciers retreated, sea levels rose. And the land bridge that once connected this island to the vast northern plains disappeared beneath the water. The mammoths were cut off, not hunted into extinction, not chased, simply separated. At first, isolation was protection. There were no large human settlements, no expanding territories, no organized hunting pressure, just wind, snow, silence. Here, time moved differently. The ice age had ended, glaciers retreated, sea levels rose. The herd was never large, and with each passing generation, it grew smaller. Food was scarce, the land was unforgiving, and there was no new blood coming from the mainland. On that isolated island, their world grew smaller with each generation. Fewer voices, fewer births, thinner bloodlines. In isolation, survival becomes fragile, not because of war, not because of conquest, but because of chance. One harsh winter, one failed season, one storm too many. And when the cold came again, there was no recovery. The island grew quiet. One by one, they disappeared. The last mammoth did not know he was the last. For him, it was only another winter. Just another winter.